Anyway, yeah, we don't have any topics. We're tired of talking about COVID.
So, school's done. Riley's a senior.
Yeah.
So what?
Apparently.
What did you think of? You might have to get closer to your father so I can hear you. But what did you think of the study remotely bullshit?
Well, first of all, I'll answer for her. She doesn't take school as serious as your kids do. So,
well, I don't know about that, but
lean in here and tell him what you thought of.
Well,
I
like that I could take my time on things, and I wasn't rushed to do assignments.
Right.
But I feel like some of the teachers put a lot on us, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They give you more than what you probably would have gotten
nobody
normally.
knows what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. So do you think there's any teachers that just kind of mailed it in and just didn't even try and just said whatever?
Oh, for sure. I had one class that I just had to watch videos, but nobody watched them.
Right. And you still passed. You probably got an A, right?
Yeah. I'm actually 0.5 away from an A, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Ask for extra credit.
Maybe they'll give it to you. Maybe you should have watched that video.
Yeah.
She did bring her algebra grade up, a letter grade, which I was glad about, but you could have brought it up a little more. I think once you got that one letter grade, you quit.
I can thank Chuck for most of those answers.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over because I think what'll be interesting to see is that, look, JB might say, we're shutting it down for the rest of next year until we have a cure, which will never happen, which is, there's not even a cure for the flu. So, we're not going to find a cure for this. We're just going to have to deal with it like we do the flu. It's nothing new. We've been doing this for hundreds of years, not hundreds, 100 years, right? We've been dealing with the flu for a while. Various strains. They're all different.
Well, someone from the school told us that they feel like our school is fairly conservative with decision making. And so they said you might see other schools going back or opening up or starting sports or something, and Waterloo may still decide to stay closed, longer than others. So
I don't think our school district makes decisions. I think they wait for someone else to make a decision.
That could be.
Go, yep, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Yeah.
But
which, okay, fine. But I think it might end up where they don't decide to go back in the fall. They might decide to stay closed a little longer, or at least wait and see if somebody else has an outbreak. And then, if not, then they'll go back in October or something.
Right. If they do decide to stay remote learning for the fall, well, number one, they better start having some open online school board meetings so that people, the citizenry, can be privy to these discussions and be heard. But also, I'm seriously considering taking Oliver over to South County and figure out how to make him a resident of my parents' house, and I will drive him to Melville High School every day.
Yeah,
and he'll go to school there because this is fucking stupid.
Right.
It's just dumb. They're the hell. How many? Here, your buddy asked Champagne how many young people have died total in the U.S.
Yeah, it's not many.
Yeah. But although they're going to spread it, it's like they're already fucking spreading it, That's not, the idea was to stop the spread, to flatten the curve, in order to not overwhelm the fucking healthcare industry. Mission accomplished. We have done that.
Yeah.
Why are we still doing this? Now it's like, well, no, we need to do this until we find a vaccination. And then what? We find a vaccine. Well, we need to keep doing this until we find a cure. Someone, I don't know if it was Trump might have said, I don't know, but someone said that it'll be interesting to see what happens after Election Day. If this is still as important of an issue as it is today. Because
that's a good
there
point.
are a lot of people that think that this is a campaign tool for potentially both parties.
Yeah.
I think definitely the Democrats are trying to use it as a campaign tool. They're trying to tarnish Trump's image, and Trump is trying to use it as a look what I just did. I saved the world, and whatever. Which is, they're both fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that thinks this is fake and there's no real issue here. It's the same as the flu and we don't even need to worry about it and whatever. I think there is something to this illness and this virus that is worse than the average cold or whatever. But I also think they absolutely are using this for political gain. Both sides are trying to. The left is trying to tear down the right with this virus, and they will for the next 6 months until they either win or lose the next election. But I'm not saying that it's all political and it's just for leverage, but that's part of it for sure. I mean, it has to be.
I think right now it's more political than anything. I think that in March, like I said, it wasn't. It was based on legitimate fear, and people were making decisions based on what they thought was in the best interest of the society. But now that things have changed, and it's the whole, you see an opening, you take it, right? You find it. If you have a crisis, you take advantage of that crisis in order to push your agenda. They're both doing it. Both sides of the aisle are doing it. At this point, it's pretty well documented that it's not. It is not the flu. It's probably, I would say, yeah, it's worse than the flu, but it's not, holy shit, let's destroy the economy, worse than the flu. It's not, again, we don't even know what the real numbers are. So we can't even make an assessment. Even if there were no current open cases of this thing, because we don't even know what the numbers are, because they vary so dramatically from state to state, we can't even say that it is or isn't worse than the flu.
Right.
Because there's too many people lying. Medicare, it's go look at factcheck.org for this one. Medicare gives hospitals more money if they call it a COVID death.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's
so they definitely have financial reason to, at least, if not lie, manipulate the death certificate. And
yes.
Right.
So now the numbers are inflated, which drives another agenda, or it
just puts doubt in the minds of the people. And even if it is a small percentage of cases that they manipulate the death certificate, it's still wrong. But now you're getting the people to think that they're doing it all the time, and most of the cases are probably fake. It's just like, well, you created that doubt by putting that incentive there. But okay, I want to get to something while we have Riley here. We haven't technically started this episode, but maybe we'll just splice in an intro or something. But you guys went to the trail today, Salt Lick Trail, and did you hike, or were you doing like photography stuff, or what were you doing?
We went to a new trail
that he can't hear you, but
we went to a trail that I've never been on, and I don't think Tyson went on, but mostly just hiked and then took occasional pictures.
So did you run into other people on the trail?
Not really.
Really?
There weren't. Sierra had been there this past week, and she said it was really busy, but today there was nobody there.
It was kind of cloudy and rainy and stuff, but
right.
The reason I asked was I've been going on walks recently. We have a walking trail near our house, and most people just kind of walk by on the it's a paved trail, I would say it's about 7 feet wide, maybe.
That's all right, yeah.
And they keep to their side and I keep to my side, and we nod and smile and say hi or whatever, but most people, that's about it. But I have had a couple people leave the trail, walk into the grass, not make eye contact, and avoid me by 10 feet, and then as soon as they pass me, they get back on the trail again. and it just feels so douchey.
Are they
I don't
wearing
know.
a face
It's just
covering?
weird. I mean, I know you're being careful and cautious, but like, come on. You're not even gonna walk past someone 7 feet apart on a outdoor trail on a nice day. I don't know.
So are they wearing a mask?
No, I haven't seen anybody walking in a mask, but
Yeah.
did you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. See, I think that some people do that type of thing, not so much for themselves, just so they don't want to piss anybody off.
Right.
Right. So they're doing it because like they don't know that you might be a douche, and they don't,
Right.
they don't want to piss you off by walking too close to you.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the only reason I mean, now that a lot of places won't let you into their store, but even before, the only reason I wore a mask or face covering was just because I didn't want other people to look at me like, look at this douchebag.
Right.
So, I mean, I really don't think it's helping. I honestly think it's kind of stupid. But I'm only doing it just to keep the peace, just to keep everybody shut the fuck up. I don't need that. I don't need any bullshit from anybody.
Yeah.
You made me think of something to talk about though, like that. Well, we don't agree on a lot of this COVID shit, but I think we can agree on a couple things. One of the dumbest things that I've seen is when I'm driving in my truck and someone passes me and they're in their own vehicle by themselves wearing a mask. That's got to be the most dumbass thing I've ever fucking seen.
Okay, I get it, but what I will say is I have definitely gone to the store, gone to Schnucks or Walmart or something with a mask on, and I come out wearing my mask, and there's people in the parking lot getting in and out of their cars, so we're all wearing masks, and I load my groceries up or whatever, and I get in my truck, and then I forget to take it off, and next thing I know, I'm a mile down the road, and I go, oh, I've got my stupid mask off, and I'll take it off. But like, if you forget, or you're going somewhere else right away, and it's like, well, it's kind of a pain to put this thing on, or I could see why you wouldn't take it off just because you forgot or something. But I can't imagine there's anybody going, I need to be careful, even in my own car.
Oh, I'll bet there are.
Well, there probably.
There's a lot of stupid people out there. I mean,
well, do you wipe your steering wheel down with a hand wipe or hand sanitizer or anything? Your keys? No.
Why?
I mean, I do.
Where have they gone? What have they? Who's touching your keys or your steering wheel?
Well, I'm touching them after I touch all my groceries and I went in the store, and then I come out and I get in my truck and it's like, ugh, all right, I touched all this. I need to clean it down.
Okay. Well, good for you.
And I put hand sanitizer on before I go into the store. So like the last thing I do before I get in my truck is put hand sanitizer on. I do that for other people, right? I'm
sure
do what I can to do my part.
Does that make you feel better?
Well, part of what we talked about earlier off the air, so to speak, I'm kind of done with that. Like I wanted to do my part and be part of the crowd that's everybody working together to get through this. But I've come across so many people, more than not, who don't care, who aren't sheltering in place, who aren't taking any precautions, and they shrug it off, laugh it off, whatever. And it's like, okay, why bother? What's the point of me going through any effort to be careful when no one else is? So I'm done with it. I'll do what I have to at a store. I'll wear a mask. Fine. But I'm not going to jump through hoops and do all this extra crap because it's stupid. And that's the attitude everybody else has, and that's why we're in this problem. But it's like there's no point in me doing extra effort when nobody else is.
No, that's not why we're in this problem. We're in this problem because it's a allegedly naturally occurring virus in the environment that got contracted by human beings. And it's just like it is in that regard. It is just like the flu. It's just like the common cold. It's just like a stomach bug. It is transmitted from human to human based on sneezes and things you touch and things that you put in your mouth or that fall into your eye or your ear hole or land on your skin or any number of things. So in that regard, it is just like everything else. And we've been guiding people for countless years to wash their hands and be clean, and during flu season, be careful, and make sure you wipe down, surfaces and handrails and blah, 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 blah. And people still get the fucking flu. People still get sick. So yeah, you're right. It is a lost cause. That's kind of the point that a lot of people are making. It's like, you're not going to find the perfect silver bullet that's going to solve this problem, because there's just dirty motherfuckers out there in the world that you're not going to be able to change. There's no way around it. So all you can do is do what's best for you. And that's it. If you expect the world to change around you, you're a fool. You can't. You can't expect that. It's not feasible. It's not reasonable. There's dumbasses everywhere. That's like saying, well, I want other people to start driving better so that I don't have to worry about getting in car accidents. Well, you can't. People are going to be fucking idiots and text and drive, and they're going to cause accidents. And so all you can do is you can be a defensive driver, and you can do cautious things to try to avoid the accident yourself.
But it's kind of like, this is a little bit of a stretch, but if you said, well, there's always going to be people who are going to text and drive, so why bother making it illegal? Why should we even, pull people over if we see them texting and driving? Like, whatever, people are going to do it anyway, so don't make it a thing that you can't do. So it's like, well, no, we don't do that. We make it illegal. We arrest you for doing it. We pull you over and give you a ticket or whatever, and we punish you for doing it. Where this is like, people are like, fuck you, don't tell me what I can't do in my own car. Like, well, we're trying to help everybody here, so stop texting. We're trying to help everybody, so wear a fucking mask. And, or whatever. I'm exaggerating, and that's not a perfect correlation, but it kind of is.
It kind of is.
There's other stuff we don't let you do because it's a risk to everyone else.
Texting and driving is probably a good example, because it's also very difficult to enforce.
Yeah.
So telling people they need to wear a mask, and they need to socially distance, and they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that because they're going to get other people sick, is extremely difficult to enforce. Enforcing people texting and driving is also extremely difficult to enforce, because there's not enough cops. People can be discreet about it. As soon as they see a cop, they put the phone down. But the next 3 miles, they've got their phone in front of their face while they're texting their girlfriend or their boyfriend. So it would be like
if we don't let you text at all and we shut down texting plans on your phones because some people text and drive.
Yes. Well, that's a little bit different. That would be like the India situation,
right.
Where they're like, no, don't leave your house. And if you do, we will beat you. So that would be the equivalent there. But so, I think people would revolt in that regard too. Because the argument there would be like, so you're going to shut down texting for everybody because a handful of inconsiderate douchebags do it while they're driving and they're causing accidents and deaths? Well, that's bullshit. Why should I be punished because some asshole doesn't know better than to put their fucking phone down while they're driving? Do you see how you can draw that same parallel here for this? Why should I have to limit my freedoms because some asshole doesn't know how to fucking wash their hands?
Right. But I think that's more the correlation. Rather than taking it to the extreme and saying, oh, well, we just wouldn't let anyone text. We don't let anyone text while driving. Some people can maybe handle it. They are able to multitask and text while driving.
No.
I don't think anybody should, but we don't. We're not going to let anybody do it.
People can, but it's pretty well documented and proven that your response time is shit whenever you're texting and driving. So you can absolutely get away with it. And you can absolutely get away with never washing your hands and walking around without a fucking mask, and you might dodge a bullet and never get COVID-19.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of ifs and buts and all that shit, but
I think the people who get upset, though, it's like, it's not just you look out for yourself, I'll look out for myself. If I want to take it more serious, I will, and if you don't, then you don't. It's the fact that some people think this is really serious, and we all need to take it serious. There is no, well, I don't think it's that bad, so it isn't that bad. Like, but I mean, you can't get everybody to agree on that.
There are people that don't think it's that bad.
Oh,
and their opinion is just as legitimate as yours.
But it's like it's like a lot of social issues, left versus right. You aren't allowed to have differing opinions. You have to agree with generally the left, or you get ridiculed or whatever.
If you have a dissenting opinion to the left, then you hate people and want them all to die.
Right.
That's the argument that the left would make to you. Like if you say, well, I just feel like we should open up, let restaurants, small businesses go back to work. They'll come back with like, well, you just want people to die.
Right.
It's like, well, no, moron. That's not what I fucking said.
I don't think we should give, tax money to illegal immigrants who haven't paid into our tax system. Well, you want them to die then, right? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying, but that's...
I'm going to go home.
Yeah, right.
They should probably not come here if they didn't. I don't know. Anyway, no, there was an argument. I think I told you about this. Someone, a mutual acquaintance of ours, that early on in this conversation, I said something about the moral dilemma. This was in March, like right after things were shut down. I said something about the moral dilemma of destroying lives and livelihoods, destroying the United States economy, perhaps the global economy, because of a virus that it seems like it's deadly, but we're really not quite certain how deadly it is. And this person said to me, well, how many people do you want to die in your house? It's like, well, that's not the argument. That's a fucking asinine stance to take. Obviously, I don't want anybody to die, but I also don't want anybody's livelihood to be destroyed, because that may result in their death.
Yeah.
I don't want everything to be shut down because of fear of the boogeyman. So, again, I think almost everybody agreed in the early days that we need to shut things down until we have more information. And now, guess what? We have more information. So now we need to make a new set of decisions. And based on the information we have, I'm looking at it, time to open shit up. Numbers aren't as bad as we thought they were going to be. The curve has been flattened. Hospitals are not overran. Nurses and doctors are being furloughed because the hospitals are not overran. Mm-hmm. Now, this case is different in Chicago.
Around here, yeah, right.
Yeah. Around everywhere other than Chicago, Detroit, and New York.
I don't know. I don't know what it's like in Atlanta or other major cities, but
big cities. Other than major metropolitan areas, which they're very small, percentage-wise of the entire footprint of the United States. Other than those areas, it's not bad. So, are we going to make everybody? So it's like saying, I can't even think of an analogy here. So, it's like saying, well, it gets hot in Atlanta. It gets really fucking hot in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. They call it Hot Atlanta, as a matter of fact, right? I don't know. Never been to Atlanta. But so it gets hot in Atlanta in August. So, well, we better make sure that we give free air conditioners to everybody, even people in Minnesota. Well, yeah, because it gets hot in Atlanta. It's like, no, that's fucking stupid.
Well, but if you're the governor of a state of New York or Illinois or wherever that has a major metropolitan area where thousands of people are dying, you're going to say to those, southern areas that aren't nearly as bad, you're going to go, yeah, you're not as bad. And we want to keep it that way. Look how bad it is here when it got out of control. We're trying to keep it from getting out of control down there too. So I get it. And again, you said, well, we have more information.
So I'm going to say something that might, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you're not thinking hard enough about this. You're just not. And I think too many people are not thinking hard enough. You have to think about why. Why is it bad in New York?
No, I understand that. I'm saying you need to think where a politician is going to come from. What choice do they have when they have a model that's been adjusted as of yesterday or last week that says if we keep doing what we're doing, which is sheltering in place, thousands of people are going to die. And if we do what everybody's asking us to do, which is open restaurants and bars and just kind of keep social distancing, tens of thousands of people are going to die. Okay. So when those models...
Based on that logic, then what you're saying is that J.B. Pritzker and Mario Cuomo are the only two governors in the entire United States that care, because damn near every other governor has taken a different stance, and almost every state in the union has a major metropolitan area that has been impacted.
Yeah.
Colorado has Denver. Phoenix and Tucson are in Arizona. They're big cities. Portland's a different animal because they were originally hit by this thing to begin with. California's got a bunch of these areas. Right?
No, you're right. I don't know what they're being presented with, and I don't know for a fact what Illinois.
We're going to say that 48 governors must not give a shit, and they want everybody in their state to die. But J.B. Pritzker and Mario Cuomo must be right because they've got a different set of data, or because they're smarter. I doubt it.
I'm just saying, when they're having those numbers presented to them, like, I'm not shocked at all that they decide to keep things closed. I mean, of course they are.
Because they're dishonest people and they're lying to you and they're lying to
maybe.
People.
I mean, well, I don't know. I think they have models presented to them that are updated. These are not 2-month-old models. And I'm not defending Pritzker. I don't like Pritzker at all. I hate a lot of the decisions that he's made. But I have to look at when those models are presented to them of tens of thousands of people dying. I'm like, yeah, I'd probably keep it closed too. And I know that it's not that simple.
Someone should look at those models.
Well, I mean people are looking at them.
And let's look at how these models are built. So there's a lot of people out there, and I've sent you video links to these people that say this isn't as bad as we think it is. The models were wrong. It's time to reverse course on the actions that we're taking. It would actually benefit us greater as a whole if we were to open things up and allow people to go back to life as it were. There's a lot of people, scientists, doctors, and statisticians that believe the other way. So let's challenge these things and let's have a conversation about them, as opposed to just someone saying, well, this model says everybody's going to die, so we need to shut it down. And the fat guy in fucking Springfield said so I'm going to do it. That's fucking stupid. That's not being honest with yourself, and it's not thinking. And unfortunately, there's too many people in this country that aren't fucking thinking further than what the guy on the fucking TV tells them.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time,
don't trust J.B. Pritzker. Don't trust any of these people. Go look at the numbers and think hard. Think hard about, okay, well, do the math. Do a little bit of build an Excel spreadsheet, because God knows there's no journalist out there doing this shit for you. Go on Twitter. Twitter's a fucking terrible place, but there are people out there that are thinking about this very long and hard on both sides of the argument, and they're honest with each other, and they're not agenda driven. They're like, look,
but I think
here's the reality.
Where people aren't being honest with themselves and each other is there's this argument out there that the models are so wrong. Look what they were saying early on. 1 million to 2 million people were going to die. Well, and we're nowhere near that. Well, that was if we did nothing. They said 1 million people could die. I thought what I recalled was if we take action and shelter in place and whatever, there could still be 100 to 150,000 people die. And we're at 90,000 now. Quickly approach. I bet by the end of the week we'll be at 100,000. So I don't think that's that far off of what these predictions were saying. And we're only 3 months in, 2.5 months or whatever.
Well, then check that box. They got it right. Shut her down. Let's fucking kill some careers.
Well, I'm not saying, we should destroy the economy. I'm just saying I don't think those predictions were all that far off. I mean, we're at 100,000 people.
It's really easy to say that. And that's why I'm pretty sure I said it on this podcast when this first started. I know I said it to you, and I know I said it to my wife and others, that it's the perfect argument. When you say like, well, right, we have to shut everything down because if we don't, millions of people are going to die. And then we shut it down, and it's really easy to say like, well, if we hadn't done this,
right,
millions of people would have died.
Right.
There's no way to prove or disprove that claim. We have no idea, and there's no way to possibly validate that what would have happened if we had done nothing. I'm not saying we should have done nothing. What I'm saying is that it's an asinine argument to say like, well, look, this proves it. No, it doesn't prove anything.
No, but some of those models
have the data on the other side of it.
Some of those models that said 1 to 2 million people if we do nothing also said the same model said, and if we take action, 150,000 people could die. And we're at 100 now with a few months to go before those model timelines run up. So I'm not saying that it's as bad as everybody thought. I don't think it's as bad as everybody thought.
When's the timeline over? When is that done?
I think most of those timelines were saying like by fall or August or whatever. So
but fall's whenever it's supposed to, where it's wave 2.
Well, right. But I'm saying I thought
every model follow the same timeline?
I'm sure it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't either. I know. I'm not expecting you to have the answers to these questions. I'm just throwing out things that would challenge.
Yeah, we need to challenge the numbers. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I think a lot of people right now think those numbers are total horseshit. And I'm like, are they? We're pretty close.
One of those people that those numbers are total horseshit.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of them. I don't. And I've told you this. We probably weren't recording yet, but here's why. We're basing these numbers on, you say, oh, we're already at 100,000 deaths, or we're already at this, or whatever, 1 million deaths, blah, blah, blah.
90,000 in this country, yep.
Right, 90,000, right? So it's all just numbers. It's all just bullshit, because New York counts their shit one way, Colorado counts it another way,
right.
Oregon counts another way, Illinois counts it another way. Medicare's paying people more money if they call it a COVID death. You know, people are driven by an agenda because they want to tarnish some other politician's fucking, persona by making this bigger or less than it should be. So all of the numbers are garbage. There's something in data analysis called garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Anytime everybody's heard that, right? Anytime you want to do some data analysis, if you put a bunch of shit in, the report you get out is going to be absolute shit. And that's what we're at right now. So any model that's presented to anybody should be questioned, because okay, so where did you get this data? And then, I got it from the CDC. Where'd the CDC get it? Well, they got it from each and every state. Okay, how does New York calculate this? How does New Jersey calculate this? And you quickly see that there's immense discrepancy from state to state. Not just state to state, because the states are getting it from the counties. So if you go to the state of Illinois, it's like, well, where did you get your data, Illinois Department of Health? And they say, well, I got it from Monroe County and Cook County and St. Clair County and Macoupin County. And so, okay, Macoupin, how are you calculating? Well, we just count the bodies and they all get tagged with COVID. And okay, Cook County, how are you doing? Yep, we do the same thing. Monroe, we only had 4. Right. And it's like, okay, well, so everybody, Macoupin? Wow, okay, that's fucked up. And you go next door to Missouri. How you doing in St. Louis? Well, if they tested positive and they died from a complication of the illness, meaning COPD or lower respiratory issues, that's when they get counted. As opposed to, not saying that St. Louis is doing that or that's the right way, but I'm just giving you an example of another city that could be doing it the right way, doing some real analysis and not just fucking toe tagging everybody with COVID because they happen to die between March and fucking May.
I guess I'm hopeful enough or naive enough to think that that's not what's going on all the time everywhere. Like, some of these bodies are probably being counted as COVID that maybe aren't. I've been saying all along, maybe 10%. We talked earlier, that number might be 20% or 25%.
Colorado has already revised their numbers, so they could be lying, I guess. I wouldn't think, Colorado, if they're lying about it and they've adjusted their numbers, why? I don't know why they would. It would probably benefit Trump. They're a pretty liberal state. I don't think they would do that. They wouldn't want to help him. So why else would they adjust these numbers other than they're just trying to be honest? And I think that's the case, is that's the Occam's razor. That's the most obvious answer, is they're just trying to be honest. They noticed a discrepancy and they've revised their numbers.
Okay.
And that revision means about a 20% drop in deaths.
But if they're trying to be honest, why do we not think that most of the other states are also trying to be honest with their reporting of this pandemic?
Because the biggest state that's impacted is New York. Number 2 is probably Illinois. Maybe not number 1 and 2, but they're up there. Top 5, top 3, definitely. Right. And they're 2 of the most corrupt states in the union.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And Mario Cuomo is not a trustworthy person. He's been caught lying multiple times. J.B. Pritzker is not a trustworthy person. He's been caught lying. Not necessarily lying. I don't think anybody's caught him lying. But just not being thoughtful, I guess, is probably the best. Not thinking it through.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then,
those are all valid points, and I think that's a big reason why people are skeptical. It's a big reason why people are ignoring some of these orders. But I think it's a dangerous game to play by saying, well, we doubt some of these numbers and we don't like this guy and he has lied, so it's all bullshit and we don't need to do anything. It's like, well, and I know that's not what you're saying, but Some people are saying that. It's like, well, that's a dangerous game to play.
And again, those people are idiots too. People that say like, no, it's all bullshit, fucking, I'm not doing anything, and they're walking around licking fucking, handrails. They're idiots. Yeah, there's a balance, right? There's a balance to everything, and I'll tell you what I do. Okay, so I already told you I wear face coverings whenever I go in public places because mainly I don't want to get mean mugged by someone walking by me. I'm not that concerned about things like if someone is really close to me. I've already have issues with people being close to me. You know this. That in March of last year, if someone was within 6 feet, I'd be fucking backing away. So I already have my own aversions to that. So my approach to it is like I already socially distance. I don't touch other people and things as much as I possibly can, right? I do wash my hands more than most people, I think. I am already doing all of those things, and I will continue to do those things. I think it's smart to do that. This is a real virus that is causing real deaths, mainly among older people in our society. So we need to take it seriously and do whatever we can. But do we need to take the extreme action of only allowing 2 people in a boat at a time? No, that's fucking stupid and not based in science. And whenever people make rules like that are not based in science, that make no fucking sense, you have to ask yourself, why in the world would they come up with something as asinine as that? Whenever a governor of a major state says, you know what, we're just going to shut down half of that store because there's no reason people need to be buying seeds for their garden or topsoil. They should only be buying the essential things. It's like, okay, so you're going to let them in the store to buy that, but not this. You're going to hurt people's jobs and the economy because there's no science behind it. There's just none. It doesn't make any sense. So why would you do it unless there's some ulterior motive? And so, again, I go back and forth on this because I'll say the Occam's razor thing, the simplest answer is usually the right one. Maybe I'm making it too complicated with why these people would be making these poor decisions, meaning the governor of Michigan or the governor of Illinois or the governor of New York. Why would they be making these decisions unless they were trying to hurt someone or something or the economy? Is that too complicated? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm completely fucking off my rocker. Bottom line is I'm taking a balanced approach. I'm not saying it's not a big deal and everybody should just throw caution to the wind and go out and lick fucking handrails. But what I am saying is that you need to protect yourself because you can't rely on other people to do it for you. You can't rely on everybody to put down their phone when they're driving. So you have to be vigilant. You can't rely on everybody to wear a mask and wash their hands and not be fucking dirty bastards. So you have to remain vigilant. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a bizarre dichotomy between, you got to watch out for yourself. And I think this is way blown out of proportion. So why bother watching out at all? It's just like.
I think it's way blown out of proportion. I don't think it's nothing. I think you need to take care of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I also think it's crazy. I saw a headline said that Trump claims he's been taking hydroxychloroquine for months or weeks or something like that. I'm like, really? Trump? Come on, dude. Why you gotta say stupid shit? Because that just sounds ridiculous. That don't make no fucking sense. Why? Why would you be taking it unless you had the fucking corona? Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Nothing makes any fucking sense anymore.
Yeah.
But that dude's going to get elected again. And people are going to fucking scream at the sky. It's going to be mayhem. They're going to be screaming at the sky.
Oh, yeah.
All those people, all the fucking people that got triggered and, were
right.
And there's going to be another, pussy hat parade in fucking Washington after Inauguration Day. These things are going to.
Obviously, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But I have said I don't see how there's any way Biden wins this next election. And then I've talked to people who are not fans of Biden, but they're like, I don't see any way Trump wins this next election. So it's just funny that there can be such a wide spread of opinions on like, there's no way this guy and there's no way that guy can win.
Well, because you're talking to 9 people in Southern Illinois and Eastern Missouri. And that's what people did last time is that they underestimated. And I'm not talking to any more people. You're probably talking to more than I am. But my point is that you cannot underestimate the same states that he won last time.
Sure.
These people, the silent majority, if you will, that that just sits there and says, I'm just tired of this shit. I can't allow this insanity to continue.
Where I could see him losing is I don't think there's going to be very many people who didn't vote for him before who will vote for him now. I don't think that's a very large number. I do think there are going to be people who did vote for him who won't vote for him this time. Either they were, I'm not voting for Hillary people, and they voted for whoever else it was. It happened to be Trump. Or they kind of liked what he had to say, his message about this and that, but now that he's been in office, they're like, what a nut job, and he's such an ass, and I'm tired of it. I know there's going to be a lot of that. I'm tired of it. I don't want to vote for this guy again. And so they're going to vote the other way.
I think that may be, but I don't think they're going to vote for I don't think they're going to vote for Joe Biden because that son of a bitch can't put fucking 6 words together.
That's what I keep saying. I'm like, I cannot imagine a scenario where Joe Biden wins if the Republican Party does what they should do, which is expose him for what seems to be dementia or something. The guy is just a weirdo. And if they aren't playing video clip after video clip of that guy sounding like a jackass, then they're not doing their jobs. And I think they're going to do their jobs. So I think it's going to be painfully obvious that we should not be voting for Biden. Even if you're a Democrat, I would not vote for Joe Biden, or I wouldn't want to. So anyway, but there's other people that just completely see it the other way. Like, yeah, I know he seems senile and whatever, but like, I would never vote for Trump, so I'm voting for Biden. So I don't know. Yeah. It'll be an interesting election for sure.
Well, so those people, I can't wait for it to happen. Yeah. I mean, because it will inevitably. There'll be half the country that votes for, Weekend at Bernie's, and there'll be half that'll vote for, pussy grabbing Trump.
Right.
And then all those people that voted, let's say Biden wins, then all those people will be like, they'll have to explain, why would you vote for him? He can't even talk. Mm-hmm. He's a fucking lunatic. He's a pedophile. Have you seen the video? Go to joebiden.info.
I don't know if I would call him a pedophile.
Go to joebiden.info.
Okay. I'm going.
This will get us taken off. This will get our podcast shut down.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, no joke. I mean, just go there and then scroll down and look at some of the videos that are available for your perusal on joebiden.info. Are you looking at them?
Yeah.
Are any of those disturbing to you?
Where he's like nestling up against a little kid.
Look at the third one on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Top row, where he's caressing this poor child's face.
I mean, okay, clearly that's disturbing, but I wouldn't say that's pedophilia.
Oh, that's what he does in public. What do you think he does behind closed doors?
Right. I know. I hear you.
I mean, look. So Donald Trump, we know he talks a fucking terrible game. Talks about grabbing women by the pussy, but I don't know that he's actually done it. No one's came out and said, "Yep, he grabbed mine." They have, but I think it's been pretty widely debunked that they were politically driven and nothing really came of them. But it's like this dude. There's video evidence of him being creepy as fuck repeatedly. It's like, what the hell? There's other thing. How I found this website? I forget who even posted it. It might have been Tim Pool. That maybe, I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but he's like, it's funny if you post joebiden.info on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Immediately gets taken down.
Really?
Twitter, same way. You post a link to joebiden.info, boom, gone in fucking seconds. It's like, what don't they want you to see? Gee, I wonder what side of the aisle those companies are on. But they don't do anything like that. They don't edit anything. They don't change the narrative. Keep scrolling all the way down. You can keep going further.
Yeah, there's another like extremely creepy one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is partly what I'm saying. Like, if the Republicans aren't showing this on Fox News, then they're not doing their jobs. But at the same time, you could make the case that he's just a loving, grandfatherly type who's affectionate with innocent kids because it's all innocent, right? But yeah, this is creepy.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But I'm not going to call him a pedophile because that's a horrible thing to say.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, fine. I'll back off on the pedophile thing, but I'll put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if someone
No,
said,
I mean, yeah, I won't be shocked.
I wouldn't be
but
surprised if someone said he fucked a donkey. I mean, I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, the guy's fucking lunatic. He's a lunatic. He's crazy. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, he said anybody that can stand in front of a microphone and start telling a fucking story about little kids rubbing his leg and sitting on his lap and not think there's anything wrong with it, he's obviously fucking batshit crazy.
He's definitely a creep.
You know
I mean, you'd think people call Trump a creep. You see what this guy is doing on camera to his constituents, and they're pulling away in awkward, anxiety. It's like
these
Jesus.
things. There's a father standing right there. I tell you what, if it was my daughter and he was doing, I would have fucking knocked that old prick out.
Right.
I don't know.
I know.
I mean, look, that's whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That motherfucker. The only reason he got to be vice president was because he had the mother of all presidential candidates that he could ride along with. That Barack Obama could have picked fucking Satan as his goddamn running mate and still won.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. I mean, he was that good of a candidate.
Right.
That Joe didn't matter. Didn't matter with that motherfucker.
So that being said, I've heard this.
Not about Trump. Joe Biden said shit about Barack Obama, talking about how he's very clean and articulate, for a black man. It's like, what the fuck, man? And then Obama picks him as his running mate.
There's a quote on that page that said, here, I'll read it. It's so ridiculous. And I almost think it has to be taken out of context because it's so ridiculous. But it says, quote, I mean, you got the first mainstream African-American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy, end quote. Mm-hmm. In 2007, referring to Obama. Like, Jesus, man.
Yep. And then less than 12 months later, he was picked as Barack Obama's running mate. Brilliant, right?
Right. Now, I've heard one theory. I don't think this is completely novel or anything, but that he may pick Hillary as his vice president, and then the Dems will just prop him up and just wait for him to either croak, or they'll just fabricate a story that he's got dementia or whatever and put her as the president. Have you heard that?
I've heard versions of that.
Which wouldn't surprise me at all. Or maybe not Hillary, but someone else that they'd like to get in there.
I mean, I just think that's too in your face that would just raise too many. I don't know, man. That would be ridiculous. That'd be
honestly, based on what we've seen, I think there's a good chance he's got something going on mentally, like whether it's dementia or Alzheimer's or something. Right. And then he's a creep, but I think he's got some mental incapacity. So I hope they got somebody good as his vice president who can step in and not be a total jackass. I'm not saying I want it to be Hillary, but
no, well, it better not be.
Right. Or AOC.
Oh, Jesus. He made her what did he make her? Like the climate czar of his campaign?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I think I heard that or saw that. I didn't read about it, but
it's just crazy. And he's like, oh, right. Yeah, that's the one I want. I'm like, oh, all right, man. Whatever.
Yeah. Right, and then she said something about the Green Deal being, I forget, she classified it as something that was like, what? You just said that about your own pet project and you basically trashed it? But
none of these people are very smart. I mean, that's just,
we said we weren't going to talk about COVID, and then we got into politics and
what else you want to talk about?
I don't know. There's no sports. I did watch UFC. That was fun.
Yeah. I haven't. I didn't watch UFC, and I have not watched NASCAR.
Yeah, I guess there was NASCAR and something else came back. What was it? Golf, maybe? There was a golf tournament?
I don't know. I watched WrestleMania 3. On,
really?
Who
was the headliner in that?
It was WrestleMania 3.
Well, I know, but was that Hogan versus Andre the Giant, or what was it?
Yeah. It was Hogan and Andre, and Andre kind of handed over the torch to
all right.
Hogan.
I never remember if that was 2 or 4 or 1 or what.
Yeah.
So that's
3 was like the big one. 3 was the one that really kind of put WWF like, all right, yeah, this shit ain't going anywhere,
Right.
but as you was watching it, it's like I used to. I don't know what year that was, but I babysat this kid. It was a friend of my parents. They had a son he was probably 4 or 5 years younger than me, but is a good kid and we hung out a lot every time
Yeah.
our parents would get together. I was in charge of keeping an eye on him and whatever.
Mhm.
And he was a wrestling nut, and he had all of the wrestling action figures, and he had the fucking big ring that make him fight, and basically he was playing with dolls. I never quite got. I mean, I liked watching wrestling, but I was pretty well aware of like, oh, okay, this is soap opera for guys,
Mhm.
basically. It's not so. I mean, the athleticism is impressive, no doubt, but
Right.
the drama, it's all fake, and the drama is there because it's a good storyline, and it's just like watching Days of Our Lives, but with getting the shit kicked out of each other. Well, this kid was, locked in that this was real, man. This is no joke, and these guys were really hurting each other, and I recall challenging him on it, and I get in a fight with this fucking 9-year-old. Not in a fight,
Right.
in a verbal war with he's like, no, it's real, and I'm like, all right, fuck, whatever, yeah, it's fine, it's real, kid, whatever, But then I'm watching WrestleMania 3, and I'm like, how the fuck would anybody think this is real? This is so
Yeah.
hokey.
I know.
I mean, it was big. I mean, the way that they hyped it up. That's what wrestling is. It's all hype.
Well, plus,
And-
it's as a kid, especially, you're innocent. You don't realize that someone would pull one over on you, right? That they would trick you into, like, I'm watching this happen. This isn't a movie. I'm seeing it happen on stage, so to speak. So this has to be happening. You don't
Right.
realize that someone would do that to you, would trick you that way. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is all
right.
fake.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's
But it was cool. I was into the later, like Ultimate Warrior and kind of the late 80s, early 90s.
right.
When there was probably
Yeah, I mean,
even
I was
more
still-
flash
I was
and
still into
color
it
and
then.
all that.
Let's see. When was WrestleMania 3?
I'm going to say 79.
No, it was in the 80s.
80
It was like 84.
Really?
Yeah. Why? Wait, I type in WrestleMania 3. I get WrestleMania 36. I can't find WrestleMania 3. There it is.
What?
Okay. You got to type in the Roman numerals. 1987.
Oh, for 3? Holy shit.
Yep. WrestleMania 3. It was, Hogan and Andre. There was another matchup in there. It was, the fuck was it? Bret Hart? No, it wasn't Bret Hart. Was it? Roddy Piper and... No, that wasn't it either. Oh, that one was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Macho Man Savage. That was the other big match. So, anyway. I stumbled. I think I don't even know how I got on it. It's like I was scrolling through the guide, and I was like, WrestleMania 3, and I turned it on, and I got to watch the last, the Hogan Andre fight,
Mhm.
and then it went into like some WWE like analysis show, but they were all from home, like doing the
Yeah.
remote. Like, this is the worst television in the television. Because they're all trying to like do a promo on each other. Let me tell you something, brother.
Right.
And it's like they're talking. No, you go. No, you go. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry to talk. No, go ahead. Seriously. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking terrible.
Now watch it now on, shelter in place quarantine, where they walk down the ramp to the arena and there's no fans there, and they're looking into the stands as if there's fans there, and they're acting all tough and cool, and it's like it's so weird.
Yeah. Well, I guess they did some wrestling. So this
Oh,
show,
yeah.
I didn't watch it, but they were showing some highlights, and they had there was no seats around, and they were just like in a big room with like black curtains all around. I
Mhm.
think it was like a cage match thing or something like that. But they had a fight. Apparently, they had matches.
Yeah.
In this like no fan environment, and it seemed weird, but whatever.
Well,
Hey,
I
they are
watched
gonna
the UFC not this past weekend, but the weekend before. It was the first one back after, shutting everything down. And I didn't even it didn't even occur to me when I was turning it on that it was special or different. I mean, I knew that it was, okay, this is the first one in a while, but I couldn't pinpoint it for like the first 30 seconds or a minute. I was like, something's weird. Why is this different? And it took me a while to realize, oh yeah, there's no one there. And you can hear every sound that anyone in the room is making. You can hear the coaches giving advice. You can hear the commentators yelling. The fighters can hear the commentators commenting. You know, it was like,
Right.
it was weird.
Yeah.
And then you get used to it, and it's like, this is kind of cool. I kind of like it. It's like being in the gym with them or something.
I think the best sports for that would probably be like, hockey and basketball.
Yeah.
To hear the communication.
Yeah, NBA would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Things that you'd never hear normally. But like baseball, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it'll be great on TV, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think that all those shots of the crowd and foul balls going into the stands. I mean, look, I'll watch the Little League World Series, and there's barely any fucking fans there.
Yeah, I don't mind watching an empty stadium. I mean, you go to a fucking high school game, and there's 12 people there. It's fucking stupid.
Right.
And I'm totally used to that, so I wouldn't mind an MLB game with nobody there.
Yeah. So would you go to a Cardinal game?
Oh, for sure.
Or
yeah.
What would it take? Like so let's say that I got something to talk about. So let's say they start this season next week. I know they're not planning on that, but let's say they start it next week, and they're like, all right, Busch Stadium, we're gonna have you can buy 10 seats together if they're people that you're with, but after that bunch of seats, we're gonna put 5 seats between you and the next party.
Yeah.
And would you do that, or what if they said, nope, you're buying seats, you're going to be sitting elbow to asshole with every other asshole?
Well, I mean, kind of like I was saying before, I'm kind of done with the being careful. Like, I'm going to do what I got to do when I go to the grocery store or whatever. But like, nobody else is being careful, so why should I? Now, that being said, do I want to be ass to elbow with a bunch of dirtbags at a stadium? Not really, but I didn't really want to before either, because that's kind of gross, but I did sometimes. So, but I mean, definitely, if they're going to space us apart, I'm there. Let's go. Give me some nachos and a hot dog and beer, and I'm tuning into the Cardinals. But if it's back to normal and everybody's crowded in there, I don't know. I might wait. Again, a lot of this is like, I'm going to wait and see. Like, if everybody else is going to these games and there's no breakouts, no outbreaks, then yeah, I'll go. But if we find out after the first 3 weeks that cases have spiked and half of them came from sporting events, well, I ain't going.
I saw some meme thing. It wasn't a meme, whatever the fuck it was, some comment on social media. It was like, there's a lot of media pundits out there, criticizing states and regions that have opened up over the last 72 hours. And it's like, and the argument was like, how can you criticize over the last 72 hours? How do you know that things have increased? If this virus has a 14-day incubation period, and you're telling me in 3 days we can tell that they've made a bad decision, the numbers have gone up in 3 fucking days when there's a 14-day incubation period, and we can't get tested efficiently enough?
Yeah.
Points that they're lying to you.
Yeah, now they're talking about some of the rules for opening up again are, let's see, what is it? They have to test every employee every day that they come into work. Well, not test, but I guess take their temperature.
But what about the asymptomatic, Jared?
Do
they not care about the asymptomatic
and
the people that they could put in harm's way because of the asymptomatic people?
And I'm thinking,
oh my God,
how are you going to be, even just taking their temperature, how are you going to do that? Are you giving everyone a digital thing that can just do a forehead reading? Yeah, are you going to have them stick a thermometer under their tongue for 60 seconds? Are they going to put one under their armpit?
Temporal thermometers. You don't have a temporal thermometer?
I don't have one.
Oh,
does everyone have one?
I would say most people do.
Okay.
I mean, we've had one since we had DJ as a baby.
I mean, I know it's a thing that's common, but I didn't think it's like every business now has one. That I don't know. Maybe it's that common, and I'm weird for not knowing that.
Walgreens. The first one we had was it went in the ear, but it was still like an instant thermometer. You put it in, you hit the button, boop, and gave you the reading. And then now the one we have now is you put it right in the center of your forehead, right between your eyes. Not your eyes, but
why the fuck do they still have armpit and tongue ones then?
The armpit and tongue and rectal are obviously, I think it's a more accurate, it's a more precise if you're looking for precision. But if you're just looking to see if someone's got a fucking fever, you can do the temporal thermometer and you can get a pretty good idea. That's all we use. I don't take anybody's temperature with a fucking thermometer anymore. So yeah, I mean, and that works instantaneously. I mean, look,
maybe that is more
technology,
practical than I realized.
Technology is advanced to the point where you can have cameras in your establishment that will look at everybody that walks through the door and show their temperature. It'll show if they're red, that they're over 98.6. If they're blue, then they're normal. It's basically, what do they call that? Infrared. Infrared readout. Or that technology exists. I don't know if it's feasible for the masses, but it certainly could be. If that's the way we're heading, where they want to be able to look at a ballpark and like, nope, we can't let you in. Looks like you have a fever. Get the fuck out. That's certainly a possibility. I said it earlier tonight, getting on the topic of education a little bit, that this is an opportunity. And we were talking with my kids and the wife about education and educators. They have a choice right now. They can choose to innovate and make education better for everyone in light of the circumstances, or they can choose to stand their ground and worry about their union rights and that they're disadvantaged in some way or another. And I think the right path here is, and I'm talking about from kindergarten all the way up through higher education, through the college professors at Yale and Harvard and Columbia and whatever. It's an opportunity to innovate, to make the world better. And unfortunately, I hear nobody out there talking about how we can do better by the students of America today. Instead, they're worried about, how do we get them back so we can keep charging them for room and board and charging them ridiculous amounts of money for their tuition? How do we get them back on campus? And that's going to be a failed measure. I mean, it's definitely going to change. I don't know how quickly it's going to change for all the universities, but I think people are going to really start to question spending all this money on places like, UMSL. I went to UMSL. It's where my degree's from, my bachelor's degree. Fine school, University of Missouri, program, but no one's going to spend a shit ton of money to send their kid to UMSL. It's not, or to pick on SIUE, which is the smaller one, Edwardsville or Carbondale. One's smaller than the other, isn't it?
Yeah, I forget. I want to say Carbondale's smaller, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a difference. I think they're both fine schools, but people are going to think about spending all that money to send their kid there when they can do something online, which these universities have proven is very much a possibility, right? And especially if they innovate and they find ways to keep these kids accountable and to keep and to make sure that they're being accurately tested and they're not cheating on tests, which is what I think is going on in a lot of cases right now, is that they don't know how to proctor exams remotely at this point. They need to figure that element out. But it's an opportunity, and unfortunately I don't think it's being looked at as such.
Well, I think it's going to hurt a lot of schools. I do think we maybe talked about that on the last episode. There's going to be universities that go out of business. There's going to be
we did talk about that.
Yeah, restructuring is going to go on. Probably merging is going to go on.
Mike Crow had an article that was out floating around. I haven't read it all the way through yet, but talking about how this is going to change the landscape, and that I think there was something along the lines of, the elite universities, the Northwesterns and the Yales and Harvard, and Columbia and Brown and Tulane, and I think the big schools, Wash U. They're going to be fine. It's the, Emporia State University in Emporia, Kansas that's going to struggle. People aren't clamoring, knocking down the fucking doors to go to Emporia State.
Well, and it's going to be those private schools, the McKendrys and stuff that cost $45,000 a year to go, that people are like, no, I'm not spending that. I don't want to spend $25 to go to SIU. Why am I going to spend $45 to go to McKendree?
Unless you can really throw some numbers out or some metrics out to say why it's worth it to spend that money, or why you can't get the same thing by sitting in your hometown and doing it remotely via the computer. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's an opportunity. I don't know, man. I was on a rampage about teachers. It is by no means not all teachers, but we watched some show. What the fuck was it? Beat Shazam. You ever heard of this show?
No.
Beat Shazam. It's on Fox, and Jamie Foxx is the host, and his daughter is the co-host DJ. I forget her name, but I had never heard of it. I was mentioning to TJ that what's it called? Name That Tune. You remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
Like they would play like one or two notes, and I can name that tune,
Yeah.
whatever. And TJ's like, they got that. It's called Beat Shazam, and I'm like, I got to see this. And it's not even close to Name That Tune. It's definitely the modern day attempt at it. It's not bad, but the first episode of season 3 was devoted to teachers, and so there's 3 teams of 2 people, and they're all teachers. Some were college professors, some were elementary, some high school, right? And they were fine people, and it was an enjoyable show to watch. It was good, but my fucked up brain goes like, how much do we need to kiss teachers' asses until they go like, okay, we feel appreciated enough? Like, how much more fellatio do they need before they're like, oh, okay, we get it. You appreciate us.
You have issues, Ryan. You have no appreciation for teachers. So, like,
no, that's not at all true. I have appreciation for teachers.
I'll poll our audience and see what they think.
I have appreciation for teachers who actually do care and don't just constantly fucking whine about their job. And there's far too many. And if anybody's listening, they know I'm fucking right. There's far too many out there that just piss and moan about like, I just, teachers are so unappreciated. I have to buy my own markers. Fuck off. I we all got fucking problems. You chose your career. I don't give a shit. The teachers, on the other hand, who love what they do, and they really do want to shape the youth of America, and they want to make a difference in a child's life, those people are fucking awesome. Unfortunately, today, they're the minority. That's the problem. There's far too many out there whining about how they have to work, 9 months out of the year, and they're underpaid, which they're not. It's public record. Go look at the fucking data out there on how much. Now, there's some school districts where they fuck their teachers, but you know what? Quit. Go find a new job. Stop whining about it. Jared, if you were underpaid and you felt like you were underappreciated, would you continue to do the same job, or would you go find a new one?
I might. I have a pretty good job, so.
But this isn't a good job. Let's pretend that they're not paying you enough money.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
And you have to buy your own computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd say, fuck this. I'm going someplace where they treat me better.
Yeah.
But these people don't. They just sit there and bitch about it and expect everybody to fucking suck them off every year because they got a fucking 9-month-a-year job. Fuck you. And if you got a disagreement with me on that one, let's talk about it. Come on the fucking show. Let's talk about it. I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody on this topic. There's great fucking teachers out there in the world. Some of them taught me, some of them taught my kids, and I appreciate them. Unfortunately, there's way too many of them that don't give a shit, and they took the job because they wanted to fucking sit by their pool in the summer, and they don't really want to do the job at all. They just want to fucking cakewalk. And those are the people that aren't putting in the time to take this opportunity that we have right now to innovate and make education better for what lies ahead of us. People should be forward thinking about like, okay, well, obviously education is going to change. What can we do that's different? Well, I don't want to do anything different because that means I have to work. So fuck it. I'm just going to sit here and bitch some more and wait till another fucking Facebook post comes along and sucks me off. Yes, I do have issues, Jared. That's well established.
I know. I'm just going to let you go. It's fine.
Yep.
Well, what else can we talk about? We're an hour in, so.
I had something else. What was it? That's right. Baseball. And then we don't talk about baseball.
Okay.
Designated hitter.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about that? For those that don't know, Major League Baseball is proposing the designated hitter be used in the National League for the 2020 season.
Right. So there was rumors of it coming eventually. Anyway, they've been trying to push it for a couple of years now, but now they're using this bizarre season as an opportunity to get several rule changes in, at least to test it and try it out, right? Which I kind of don't mind that. I'm like, if you're going to jack with baseball, let's do it this year where it's already screwed up and just see what sticks. But I am not a fan of the DH in the National League. I wish they'd get rid of it in the American League, but.
Right. Well, it removes a complexity of the game that really, I mean, it makes a difference. It requires you, it makes the game more of a chess match if you don't have the designated hitter.
Yeah.
By having a designated hitter and not allowing the pitcher to hit, it removes a problem. Managers are like, oh, great, don't have to worry about that shit anymore. I could fucking swap out pitchers all night long and not have to worry about shit.
Well, the one argument I've heard for is that people say, do we really want to see these pathetic hitters get into the box and just flail at a pitch? It's like, well, ideally, no. I mean, in a perfect world, the pitchers would be able to hit better, but we as fans and managers and owners have decided it's worth it to find elite pitching, even if they can't hit very well. That's a sacrifice you make. I mean, there are other positions that we sacrifice for offense. First base, generally the worst defender on the field goes and plays first base because he can hit. And same with right field, especially as a kid in high school and stuff. Like your worst defender, but if they hit good, you put him in right field. I mean, if we're going to start substituting hitters for position players who can't hit well, why don't we just do that for first base? Why not right field too?
Why don't we just treat it like football and have an offensive team and a defensive team?
I mean, that's what you're saying. Like, let's have 9 DHs and 9 defenders. Like, well, what the fuck are we even watching anymore? It's not baseball. It's something else. Right. I just think it's ridiculous that they ever did it in the American League, and now they want to push it in the National League. It's stupid. That's part of the game, is putting 9 guys out there who can do both. And not everybody can do both at the highest level, but fuck, that's the game.
Right. Well, and it also draws into question, the statistics, people that are stat nuts, which I think you're one of those people, that everything gets fucked then, right? Mm-hmm. So pitching statistics change if you remove the designated hitter, right? So, I mean, meaning that pitchers may stay in longer because you don't have to worry about their spot coming up in the lineup. So they're going to get more innings, and it could improve or it could, hurt them in some way. So all those things need to. I mean, it's like playing at Coors Field. If you've got a pitcher who played their entire career with the Rockies, you have to look at his statistics a little bit differently than you look at someone who played at Wrigley, right? Who's a Cubs pitcher, right? Mm-hmm. They're different. They're or at where's a giant stadium? White Sox. What's it called? Not Comiskey. Whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say Comiskey.
Yeah,
whatever it is now. Yeah,
what's it called now? Yeah, the cell block or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so the stats get fucked up as soon as you start changing the rules like this. It's like you can't do that, but they can and they will, and I think that people will. I don't know. They'll do whatever they see fit. I think a lot of people are going to start watching other leagues. I think people will watch more college, maybe, and the more pure leagues.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, I don't know. Part of me is I think I have it in my head that baseball's been so pure for so long, and it really hasn't. Like there wasn't always 4 balls and 3 strikes. Like that has changed. And
when in 1900?
Well, I mean, it's been a long time, but I'm saying the game did change when at some point, and it's changed recently with like the slide rules at home plate and second base and all that shit. And you used to be able to fake a throw to third when you were pitching. Now you can't do that, So it's like,
and I think purists have problems with all of those. I mean, I have a problem with the slide rule. I have a problem with faking a throw. I think you should be allowed to do all those things. Yeah. I think that and I think that probably in 1900 someone said, it's bullshit. Whenever they only had 3 balls, it was a better game, or whatever the fuck it was, right? So, but for 100 years, we had the same game. And all the purists, the people that were alive and that remember it, like, yeah, it was pretty good for about 100 years. And now, and probably those same people got pissed off when they put ear flaps on helmets or whenever they
right. I mean, they changed the height of the mound in the 60s. I mean, there's been major changes that affected the game.
Actually, 69 wasn't it? 69 was the first year after Gibson had his record.
68 was Gibson. Yep.
So yeah, they changed the height of the mound. That's a big one, and
right.
That changed all the statistics, right? It definitely took an advantage away from the pitcher that they once had. So
yeah. So I guess that's where I'm kind of like, as much as I don't like it, I'm like, well, they've changed it before, and I love the game, so I'm sure I'll get used to it. But in theory, I am not a fan of the DH. I'm not a fan of taking out. I'm not as opposed to taking out the slide rule at second. I kind of don't mind getting rid of the collisions at home plate. Like that to me was always something like I was like, wait, what? You're allowed to do that? But it did seem like something that was deeply ingrained in the game and they just got rid of it. But I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. You're risking guys' careers, and I get it. But yeah, the DH is just, I don't even understand why you would do it. It just seems like, I mean, I get why the players union wants it because it's an extra player that gets paid specialty money and it's all about making more money for the union. But I don't understand why you would you just want that at all. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it exciting when the pitcher comes up because it's probably going to be an out. What did you do before that to make sure that that's not a problem? Did you get the guy over before? Is he still on first? You know, that kind of thing. Like all that shit's going through my mind as the pitcher's coming. Are they going? Is it the 7th inning? Is it the 6th? Are they going to pull him out? Is he pitching good? What's his pitch count? All that shit. That's strategy. That's the game.
Right.
Now you're just like, fuck it. We got a DH. Who cares what the pitcher's doing? I don't know. It's just, it baffles me that anybody wants it. But
so you're on Twitter. You know who Sean Doolittle is? Yeah.
I don't know. Do I? Who is he?
He's a pitcher for the Nationals now.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say I know the name, but I'm not sure.
With the Nationals, I don't know if he's played anywhere else. Looks like he played for the A's.
Is he pretty? Anywho, has he been outspoken about not going back?
Yeah, it's like immediately after, and this was like a week or so ago, when MLB came out with, they're like, all right, we're going to go back to baseball, and here's what we have proposed. And like, I mean, as long as it took, I don't even know if he read the whole fucking thing, but as long as it would have taken anybody to read what the MLB came out with, Doolittle wrote a fucking dissertation about how everybody, you know, MLB hates the players and wants everybody to die. And how fucking dare they? And I didn't read it all. I have no idea what he fucking wrote because I'm not joking. It was about 9 tweets long. Yeah. So he, you know, however many characters you're allowed, he did that like fucking 9 times. No one's going to read that shit, you fucking douchebag. Furthermore, if you don't like it, don't fucking play. You made $1.5 million last year. Yeah. Go fucking retire. Go have fun. Don't play baseball. But shut the fuck up. Quit your whining. You're playing a goddamn child's game. Take your $1.5 million and shut the fuck up. If you don't feel comfortable, go sell cars, asshole. Nobody fucking cares about you.
Well, now there's the whole dispute over how much of a pay cut they should take, which might be some of what Doolittle was saying. I know Trevor Bauer is really outspoken
I think Doolittle's statements were before the pay conversation. I know that there's a whole new conversation about the pay thing. It's like I can understand a little bit more because it's like, look, this is, you made a contract, right? You agreed that you're going to pay this player $1.5 million for a year. Now things change, fewer games, whatever. You said $1.5 million for the 2020 season. Pay up, bitch. That's what I would say. I mean, I don't know how the contracts are drafted, but so I think there's an argument to be made for that they should be paid based on contracts. Now, if these players care about the game and they just want to get things going, I think they should compromise on it. But also, the owners are douchebags because they're saying, well, we shouldn't have to pay them, but they're so fucking loaded they can afford to pay them.
Well, the owners are saying that something like 75% of their profits come from the gate, basically, like daily ticket sales, merchandise at the game, hot dogs, all that stuff. That's 75% of their income. And so without fans there, how can they afford to pay these players? The players need to take more than just a 50% pay cut, which is half the season. They need to take like an 80% pay cut, which is half the season and a loss of profits. And everybody's like, yeah, is that how it is? Then open your books, buddy, and show me that that's where you make all your profits. And they won't do it, obviously, but
of course not. No, I mean, again, it's an opportunity. I think it's an opportunity that some baseball owner out there should open the fucking books. Probably like the Royals. Like, look,
Yeah.
You want us to open our books? Look. It's not the same across the board. The Yankees books are quite a bit different,
But some of that too is like the Royals, look at their payroll. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to guess 50 million, and the Twins are probably, I'd say 70 or 80 million, and the Tampa Bay Rays are probably 60 million, Okay, and they have attendance problems, and that's what they're spending. Now, the Cardinals payroll is 180 million or 160 or whatever. Like, that's what you can do when you've got your stadium full every day. So you have to go, well, yeah, the Cardinals can't afford to pay $160 million payroll when there's no fans there. I mean, I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's like, I think most people think most of their profits comes from television deals and other advertising deals that are still going to be there on TV, so I don't know. But I think, like you said, they should sacrifice whatever to just get playing. It's that or nothing. Do you really want to sacrifice the entire season and make $0 for the year? I'm not saying they should bend over and take it from the owners, but at some point,
that's the problem. You've given them too much power.
Yeah.
They've got too much money that they can take a year off, and it's not really going to fucking hurt them.
I guess.
But so yeah, they've definitely got the upper hand. Where and here's the thing. Nobody in this conversation is talking about the hot dog vendor or the guy that takes the ticket or scans the ticket, because nobody takes tickets anymore. But nobody's talking about those people. Nobody's talking about the scoreboard operator. These people are that's their job. So what are they going to do? I mean, nobody fucking thinks about how many jobs are
fuck them, Ryan. They can quit, go somewhere else.
Yeah, there's only so many scoreboards to operate, and if there's no fucking fans,
find a better job.
You're kind of screwed there. Yeah, no, they have to, and I bet you most of them have. Honestly, I bet. I mean, look, my kid who doesn't have to work, he just wants to because he wants to stay busy, but they shut the movie theater down. He went to Walmart. And they're going to open the theater back up, and he's going to fucking quit Walmart.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not as good a job. It's a good job. It pays more, but it's hard work. And he's like, yeah, I'd rather go back and work at the theater if they're going to have me. But yeah, people make adjustments. If my job was impacted, I would go find something else to do. I would go find another job. But I don't know, man. It shouldn't be that way. People need to think about the deeper impacts. That's another thing I saw. I don't know where it was, but that you can't look at things that a lot of people out there look at things one at a time, and it's never that simple. It's like people look at it as like, well, what's the problem? People are dying of this virus. Well, we need to shut everything down. That's the right approach. And what they should say is like, okay, well, what are our options? Well, we can shut everything down. What side effect does that have? Well, let's see. That destroys the economy. It destroys people's livelihood. It may not solve the problem. Let's think a little bit harder than that. Let's look at the bigger picture. So let's take the baseball thing, right? It's like, well, we need to get people back to work. Well, no, they need to take a pay cut. Well, now we get focused on the pay cut, and nobody's thinking about all the other outside factors, outside elements that either impact that decision or will be impacted by that decision.
Yeah,
you need to think bigger. You need to think.
Well, I think. Again, not to defend all these governors and business entities or commissioners of leagues that are shutting down, but they did think about that. They just said the greater good is human life, right? And then it's just like, well, there's a line that we don't draw with other viruses and diseases and illnesses and whatever, car accidents and things. We don't shut everything down because people get in car accidents.
Right. And they made that decision based on the information they had in March.
Right. So,
and it was and I think the right decision. We agree there, right? That was the right decision. March, whatever date it was, 15th, whatever.
Yeah.
That was the right call.
Okay.
We have new information, and nobody is evaluating that information honestly. That's my point. And people will disagree with me all day long, and you may as well. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. It's my opinion.
Right.
And you could think I'm stupid. I also don't give a fuck. I think I'm right. I'm going to take the liberal approach. I'm right. I've got the moral high ground. So meh. And I'll stick my tongue out at the world and say, fuck you. I'm right. You're stupid. No, I just done arguing about it.
Well,
I'm not,
where I would
I'm not
say
certain I'm right, but I feel pretty confident in that my stance on this is fair. And it's not that I hate people and I want them all to die. No, I don't want anybody to fucking die.
I know. I'm not saying that you're wrong or your stance is unfair or whatever. What I will say is, and this gets to like trusting the government, which is a dangerous thing to do, I think, but I mean, the people who are making these decisions have much more information presented to them than you or I do. We basically have no information presented to us. We have what's reported from clearly biased on both sides, bullshit news entities, and we don't have statistical facts, really. We don't have medical experts telling us things. We don't have scientists doing a lot of hard work to try to come up with the best information and presenting that to us. These guys do.
Spin doctors. We don't have spin doctors and PR people trying to say, here's the decision that's going to help your polls better. Here's the decision that's going to help you get reelected.
Absolutely
here's
part
the decision that's going to hurt your opponent more. We don't have any of those things. Listen, man, you do what you want to do. If you want to trust the government and you want to think that because you think that they've got, or because someone told you that a pollster has this information, or that some model maker built this model and they've given it to the governor every day, and that means that it must be fact, it must be gospel, that they must be honest, then you go ahead and believe that. I'm choosing not to.
I hear you. I'm just saying, like,
I choose to believe that J.B. Pritzker is a crooked son of a bitch, and he'll go down the long line of other Illinois governors as being a crooked son of a bitch, maybe in prison at some point. Who fucking knows? There's not a one of them that is trustworthy, Republican or Democrat. Illinois is the most corrupt state in the union, and it has been for years and years and years. I don't trust anything that comes out of Springfield, Illinois, and I don't trust anything that comes out of Albany, New York. I just feel
like if you flipped this around and made the exact same argument for baby vaccinations leading to autism, or influenza vaccinations not being that effective and maybe being risky, you're like completely on the other side of the argument now. You're just like, you trust these doctors who are telling me I need to get a flu vaccine every fucking year.
I trust the data that's been well established over years and years and years. There is no data that I've seen and there's nobody out there saying, like, we need to be, other than fucking what's her name, Jenny McCarthy, who's not a scientist last I checked, who's out there saying that the vaccinations actually cause autism. Nothing. Go find it. That's not from a celebrity or some fucking website.
I think there is data that's not from Jenny McCarthy. I'm not saying it's factual. I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm just saying there's more than just celebrities touting their opinion on that. But it's shut down by so many people who just laugh it off. Like,
well, because so many babies don't die of weird fucking illnesses because they are vaccinated. We've eradicated these problems, these smallpox and polio. We've eradicated these things because of vaccinations. There is a mountain. There are mountains of evidence that prove that they work. There's an infinitesimal amount in comparison, definitely, that says that they do some harm or they might cause autism. Maybe we should look at the cause of autism being on the rise. We should look at. Let me back that up. We should look at the reasons why autism is on the rise. Maybe because it's overdiagnosed by doctors. Maybe because mommies out there are looking for a reason why their Billy isn't like their Jenny, and they go and they doctor shop and they try to find some doctor that's going to give them fucking Ritalin and change their brain so that they behave the way that they expect them to because that's what they saw on the fucking Real Housewives or some shit like that. That's fucking real. I know people that have done that. There's an overdiagnosis of autism. So let's look at all these things, right? Again, don't just look at, well, this said this.
I understand that. I get it. But you're saying I don't trust that these doctors and scientists are given the right information to this politician, or that politician's making the right choice when he says this or that. But you do trust it on the flu vaccine or whatever. And like,
look,
trust
No,
that.
I don't know who these doctors are. I know that there's a lot of doctors saying one thing and there's a lot of doctors saying another thing.
Yeah.
I don't trust the politician. I don't know who the fuck's making the model. It's a statistician probably. He's not a doctor. Maybe he's a doctor of statistics, but he's not a doctor of medicine. So he's someone that's putting together data that's taken by the Department of Public Health for whatever municipality that is that data is gathered by who knows, anybody. It could be a public health worker that's completely trustworthy, or it could be someone who's like, fuck it, another one died. Yeah, it must be Corona.
Again, I don't disagree with you at all on that perspective. What I do disagree is the exact same fucking thing with the flu vaccine. I'm like, this is all just data that's gathered. We find out now that a lot of that shit is our assumptions with the
Jared,
flu.
Do you not get that we're talking about 3 months of data for this flu, for this Chinese flu, and we're talking about 3 months of data. We're making decisions that impact all of humanity, as opposed to decisions on vaccinating children of polio and whatnot that based on data from, let's say, 50 years.
Okay.
It's different.
I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I'm just saying you're so like skeptical of all of it. It sounds like, yet you're not skeptical of this other stuff. That it's the same basic situation. It's just been going on a lot longer. It's fucking people with money to gain and politics to play and all this shit. And it's like,
whenever it comes to vaccinating your child, I don't see any political motive there. Point to a political motive why some politician would be like, you absolutely need to vaccinate your child. Do politicians want to give our kids autism? Is that the argument?
No, I mean, I don't know how much of that is on the political side, as right now obviously is with this whole everybody against Trump thing. But like, it's definitely, there's money behind. I mean, there's money behind it, billions of dollars behind all that shit for decades. Like, how can
doctors want to make you sick so that they get you to come back to the doctor's office? Or you think it's because they want to get the baby sick?
They want to sell vaccinations. That's what it is.
Well, okay. So there's there's multiple companies out there that sell these vaccinations. But if it was some big conspiracy, wouldn't we have investigated this and eradicated it already? I mean, are they not vaccinated?
I know it's crazy. I'm the nut job who questions it at all. I'm not saying it's absolutely this is what's going on and we need to find out. The New World Order is behind this or whatever. I'm not going down that path. I'm just saying it's so silly to me how heated people get on questioning what's going on with all this COVID shit, and they refuse to question any of it when you're talking about influenza or baby vaccinations. They don't question it at all. It's like, whatever. That's totally cool. I trust everything about it. But fuck this. This is bullshit. It's like,
when it comes to vaccinating your children, my wife and I, we don't give our kids all of them. There's one of them, I can't remember what the fuck it's called. I have to ask Tammy. That we have historically, and now our kids are, older. They're all mid-teens or older. But there's one of them who's like, yeah, I don't know about that one. So no, we're not going to fucking do it.
Right.
But the other ones that are well established, proven. And we actually ask our doctor because we trust him, because otherwise why would you go to them? And he even said like, yeah, it's it's questionable. Not that it's questionable that it's going to do any harm. It's questionable if it's helpful at all.
Right.
I can't remember what the fuck it was. Nonetheless, so we don't give our kids. We don't say like, yep, give them the whole fucking gamut. Give them every shot in the book. Give them whatever it is. Vaccinate them for being a dumbass. Whatever. Fuck, if there was a pill for that, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I'm not 100%. Yep.
I know. I get it. And I know my viewpoint is in the extreme minority. I just find it interesting that people are so doubtful and questioning all the decisions that are being made with this, yet they don't question at all, and you're shamed for questioning these other related things. That's all I'm saying. I just find that interesting.
Anybody out there right now that's saying that we need to open up the economy so that people that I know, and people, small business owners, and just regular people that are out of work can get back to work. I think those people would also be the first ones to say that, yeah, I'm not going to take the first vaccination either.
Yeah.
They're going to be skeptical about shooting a chemical formula into their arm as well. Everybody should be, and but at some point, it will be established as, okay, it seems to be working.
Yeah.
There's a dramatic decrease in the number of people that are getting sick and dying from the flu or the COVID-19 or whatever. So, okay, I'm going to trust this now. And that's what I'm saying. Data without an agenda behind it will point you in the right direction, right? Now, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe we are all being led down this primrose path to fucking, brain control by the government. And that every time we get a flu shot, it's just one little fucking incremental step forward into brainwashing me into being another fucking government operative. Maybe. Doubtful. But maybe, right? So, if so, my dumb ass, they got me.
Well, I'm not saying you're the next Manchurian candidate. I'm saying when there's billions of dollars at stake, there's always reason to be suspicious. But
sure.
Anyway.
And I think being suspicious of every company, 100%, everything that you do is the right path. But I would also be skeptical of anybody that's telling you that this is causing that, and you should not give it to your children because it might. Whenever there's a lot of other people out there saying that if you don't give your child this, they could very likely get that which would kill them or severely diminish their quality of life. It's a big, not a very big equation. It's a pretty simple equation. To figure out.
I absolutely think that it very well could be like the benefits of eliminating polio and the other things we've more or less wiped out with vaccinations far outweigh the small percentage of cases that might be, lead to autism or whatever. If that's a thing at all. I'm not saying it absolutely is. I'm just saying if it's there, I'm not saying it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Every kid that gets vaccinated has brain development problems. Obviously, that's not true. So, yeah, the benefits of wiping out these horrible diseases are way better than whatever might be causing, this. But I also want to know if that's a thing. I want to know. Don't lie to me and tell me that there's no connection if you think there might be. Or don't shame me for even questioning it and wondering if injecting my baby with something might cause a problem.
To do the math there, right? So if there is this correlation between vaccinating your baby and then there being some degree of autism, then I don't know. We'd have to look up statistics from I don't know who would have those to say what percentage of children between the ages of 0 and 15 are vaccinated. And I would say that number is probably along the lines of it's probably higher than the flu vaccine. Like the flu shot, about 50% of the population of America gets the flu shot. So a lot of people can't because they have other allergies or whatever other concerns that they can't. But let's say that of children that get vaccinated, let's say it's 75% of American children get vaccinated with your standard set of vaccines. So that would mean that there would be maybe not 75%, but 50%. What percentage of kids would then have autism because of this nefarious plan by the drug manufacturers and the United States government? And the reality is that we're talking about a very small percentage of young people that
I'm saying if I'm in some Central American village with a polio outbreak, sign me up, line my kids up. We're all getting the polio vaccine because I don't want that shit. Same with measles and whatever. Yep, sign me up. But in middle America 2020, where there ain't no polio outbreak and there ain't no measles outbreak, I don't necessarily want to line up to inject my kids with something that's going to prevent polio and the measles.
Okay, so then
if there's any risk of any side effects, no thanks. I'll take my chances with polio right now.
How many people do you know that have COVID-19?
None.
Okay. but yet you're social distancing and washing your hands and doing all that.
But we are. You're right. That's a valid. And I was actually going to bring that up.
Why would you do these things?
Well, I was going to bring that up earlier. That a friend of mine brought that. He was polling people that he works with and that he knows and whatever. He was like, "Do you know anyone who's had COVID, who recovered from it, who ever had it?" And everybody's like, "Nope, I don't know anybody." So we're trusting that these numbers, that's just up to 90,000 now. People that have died and 1.5 million cases in the country. We're trusting that that's not a complete fabricated lie. So no, I don't know anybody with COVID and I'm still taking action, but there's no polio outbreak in our country that I'm aware of. So I'm not in a hurry to get a polio vaccination.
It could be right around the corner, man.
And that's an argument people make. There's a reason there's no polio outbreak anywhere in our country, because we got rid of it by vaccinating. And I get that. I understand it. But I don't know. At some point, it's like that's that risk reward. If somebody says that there could be a problem and that other thing over there is not a problem at all, then I'm not going to take the action that could be a problem to avoid the thing that's not a problem at all, which would be polio versus developmental.
Your thought process is fucked up. But it goes with the, like you don't go to the doctor a lot either, even though like isn't there a history of heart disease or something in your family?
I mean, my dad's had a heart attack, so yeah.
Okay. But you don't go to the doctor?
No. I mean, regularly. Not unless there's something going on.
Right. But you should. You should Supposedly. Go at least once a year, probably twice a year.
Yeah.
And you should have a checkup and make sure and have them do some blood work and make sure that you don't have issues. So, I mean, it's called preventative medicine, right? I mean, so that's what, vaccinations kind of are is preventative, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's there. You hopefully they give you this thing before you have the bad thing that prevents the bad thing from happening. This is the same with going to get your blood work done to say like, hey, looks like you have a whole shitload of cholesterol. You should probably work on that before you fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference. And there is a lot of science behind it. So
yeah, but, I know. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. We're an hour and 40 some odd minutes in. So we never did give an intro. So we'll just start it after the music.
Yeah, hey, fuckers, in case you didn't figure it out, we're back. Yeah, all that.
And every time we get together to record, which lately has been every couple weeks, because we keep saying there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing new. I don't want to talk about COVID again. And then we start talking about COVID, and that's what the whole episode is about.
I think that's how everybody's life is going. Now, what people didn't hear is before we started recording, we talked about vintage stereo equipment.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you're in the St. Louis area, or if you're not, and you happen to know somebody that refurbishes vintage stereo equipment, drop us a line at Load This Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and loadthispodcast@gmail.com. Tell me who I should go to have them repair my vintage audio equipment, because they're hard to find. They're not easy to track down. I've got a 1970 Sony reel-to-reel tape deck, and around the same era Sony amplifier tuner.
Cool.
They're in good shape cosmetically. They're just a little. They're just not quite working right. So you need to find. It's hard to find people that can do that shit.
Well, how can they let you know, Ryan?
I already said that, dude. Where the fuck were you at?
What?
I just said, let us know on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Well, you got to give them an address. They don't know what our Instagram. I didn't hear any of that.
What the hell?
You said @Load This Podcast. Blah 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 blah.
On Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Boy, I can't wait till you listen back to this.
All right.
Either that or there's
missed all that.
Technological difficulties here. Load this podcast at gmail.com. I said all that.
I was imagining your vintage tuner.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So if you know anybody who can fix that kind of stuff, you should let me know, and I can send them some stuff, some work. Yeah, that was an exciting conversation. I'm pumped. I get a new old turntable in 4 days. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. And you're gonna go check out your old vinyl collection, which is cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I in my office here, the wife and I, we got these cubby cubicle things from IKEA. It's like a wall of cubes, and I haven't tested this, but I think they're the perfect size for stacking albums. and I'm actually I'm kind of looking forward to filling these cubes up. So need to work on that.
Awesome.
So, yep.
Okay. Well, thanks, Ryan, for taking time out of your busy schedule to podcast with me.
Yeah, thanks for hosting, Jared.
Anytime. And thank you for listening and subscribing and downloading. I had several people ask me, hey, when's the next episode? I need something to listen to. So we owe it to our fans, Ryan, to get out there and produce content.
Well, here you go, Jack Wagons. Listen up. And if you want to hear more, why don't you tell us what you want to hear about? Because we're running out of shit.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I thought about doing like we've done Sweet 16s and Top 10s and all that shit. But I don't know. I don't know what to do it on. I mean, I thought about like, I don't know. We've kind of ran out the whole nostalgia side of things, like 80s movies and crap like that. But maybe we need to work on something like that.
We need to rank the Marvel movies.
That sounds terrible.
Somehow, oh my God, I started watching, I watched the whole thing, Attack of the Clones, so episode 2, Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I told myself, it's probably not as bad as I remember. It is. It's as bad as I remember. It's not good.
It's pretty good visually. I mean, the story and the acting is questionable.
Right. The dialogue's cheesy.
Yeah. The visuals in that one is pretty good. Isn't that the one where they like get in the speeder, chase through the city?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that.
It's just there's so much, like everything from the bedrooms that they're in to the offices that they're in to everything is CGI. Everything is green screened, and you can just tell, like every room that they walk in is fake, and it just doesn't look real. When we see Rogue One, where the whole movie's real, basically. I mean, every room they're in is a real room, and it's got that feel to it, There's a difference there, and that's part of what just like rubs me the wrong way. But overall, yeah, like the speeder scenes and the space battle scenes are cool and well done. It's just the dialogue mostly. It's so cheesy. Right. It's just so stupid. What they say to each other is just ridiculous. So it's like I constantly am like rolling my eyes throughout the movie. But anyway, yeah.
But when you watched it, the first time you watched it, you walked in like, oh my God, it was amazing.
It was really cool. Yeah. I told myself after episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which is fucking terrible, that it was good. Like we went and watched it again like a week later, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Star Wars, right? And I was like, then you realize, oh, no, it really wasn't. It's not good. You have to lie to yourself.
When it comes to Star Wars, another thing that's unpopular opinion is that I think there's too many people that like Star Wars now. There's, I mean, that's what's fucked it up, is that Star Wars is trying to appeal to too many people. If they would just try to appeal to those nerds that were in love with the movie in 1980,
mm-hmm.
then we'd have a better product. But because they're trying to appeal to every asshole out there who's jumped on the Star Wars wagon,
mm-hmm.
now the product suffers. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think a lot of it, especially with this recent trilogy, 7, 8, and 9, they just
mm-hmm.
clearly didn't have a plan for the whole thing. Like,
right.
J.J. Abrams, who directed the first one and the third one, so 7 and 9, he didn't plan on directing the third one. He wasn't going to come back. So he made a movie. He left open all these cool story ideas and never planned on closing them out. And Disney didn't either. They didn't think that it could fall apart the way it did, and so they didn't have a plan. And then it fell apart, and it was clearly obvious by the end. It was like they didn't know where they wanted this to go, and it all just sort of sucked. And the decisions they made counteracted other decisions they made, and it was just so stupid. Visually, it's really cool, and some of the story ideas are good, but they had the opportunity to just make like an epic trilogy that would have just been the best science fiction adventure trilogy of all time. They could have done that. They had the money, they had the resources and the time, and they shit the bed. So sucks.
That's the thing, man. When you start to make anything for the masses, it goes to hell in a handbasket pretty fucking quick.
Yeah,
and it goes to, everything. Like you start to do one size fits all, it's going to go to shit.
Well, the
Education-
irony is Marvel did it with the MCU. By the time they got to Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, they had 10 years worth of commitment, and they had to wrap up all these storylines and make it make sense and be appealing to so many different people. And they pulled it off. Everybody fucking loves those movies and was just in awe. I mean, there's some people that question some of the plot line of Endgame, but for the most part, it's amazing. And that's Disney that owns that. Like, they own Star Wars and they own Marvel.
Yeah, well, they can't all be winners.
Yeah, you're right.
I've told you this before. I don't necessarily like the origin movies. I think they're all they're just too predictable and formulaic that I don't really, it's like, all right, we're going to keep spinning the same fucking yarn, just a, slightly different set of circumstances for someone to become a hero. Fuck off. I agree with that. Most of those origin movies aren't that great, but then the team-up movies tend to be really good, or the sequels of those tend to be pretty good. Right.
Anyway, all right. Well, once again, thanks for listening, downloading, subscribing, all that, and we'll try to get back and give you some quality entertainment soon enough. Until next time, I'm Jared.
Think harder, people. I'm Ryan.
And get a load of this.
Yep.